Hey, it's Ramsey Dewey over here in Shanghai, China. Welcome to another edition of Q&A with the Coach. Today we have a question from our friend David. He says, I was given permission to teach back in 2016. Since we don't have a school where I live, however, I got a chronic training injury in 2015 from landing wrong out of a shoulder throw that resulted in sciatica. Ouch. My stupid ass is finally getting it checked out in a couple of months. Good. Get that checked out. Let me know how it goes. But it has prevented me from attaining the level I wanted to have before teaching. Thankfully, at least my daily training gives great pain relief. That's good. That is a really important thing. A lot of times when people get injured, they stop moving because it hurts. It is very important to keep moving in ways that we can to help the body heal faster. So that makes me very happy to hear. I had always told myself that I would compete in some sort of full contact fighting sport, I guess, before teaching to gain experience, because I don't want to be another Kung Fu teacher that is unproven. Okay, that's admirable, I suppose. I also preferably wanted to get some good experience training with Muay Thai and Judo or BJJ to close up all the many holes in my game and gain valuable material to add to my curriculum. Yet, with this injury, I can't. And despite nudging from my teacher, I still haven't opened my own school due to this. Should I go ahead and just teach what I know, or consider giving up my long-time dream of training real fighters for competition, since that ship seems to have sailed for me personally, and bringing some glory back to Kung Fu? I know a lot of this is up to my own choices and advice from my doctors, but your input would be much appreciated. Have a great day, Coach David. All right, David, thank you for the question. And I get a lot of questions where people basically ask me to make their life choices for me, for them. For example, should I train at this gym or that gym? You know, just stuff they should be able to figure out by themselves, and I generally don't answer those. This one is different. What caught my attention, first of all, was that phrase, bring some glory back to Kung Fu. Now, there are hundreds of styles of Kung Fu arts out there, Chinese martial arts, that can be classified as Kung Fu. And they're beautiful art forms, they're beautiful styles, many of which have amazing combative techniques, a lot of which have been lost and forgotten through the Cultural Revolution, through dumbing down of teaching, or any other number of reasons. And some of them maybe just weren't that great in the first place. But that thing you said, bringing some glory back to Kung Fu. Okay. My question to your question is, why is that important? I'm really fascinated with studying forms, various forms in martial arts, and trying to understand the rhyme and the reason behind them. That's really fascinating to me. I love studying forms from Tai Chi Twin, from Tai Chi, you know, those old slow motion movements that the old people do in the parks in China every morning. And it's fun to look at, but there was a historical reason why those movements started. Most of it is shadow wrestling. Tai Chi Twin is primarily a grappling art in the context of striking. I made a video recently where I showed a practical application of a simple movement from a Tai Chi form, which is essentially a golf swing style single leg finish. But you'll notice instead of shooting for a high crotch like you do in freestyle wrestling, and then when the guy tries to back out of it, you've got the ankle and you can swing it and put him on the floor. This one is catching a kick first, catching that front kick. Because again, Tai Chi Twin is grappling in the context of striking. Because these old styles did not separate striking from grappling. A fight was a fight. And fighting, naturally, is grappling and striking and everything else that can possibly be done in fighting. It is good, it is important to compartmentalize sometimes. It is good to cross-train. it is good to sometimes separate things. Like, okay, let us really refine this aspect of grappling today so we can understand it, so we can master it, so we can get really good at it. Let us separate, just the pugilism, just the boxing, just the fists today, and get really good at that. But if you look at these old forms, it wasn't that. It was striking and grappling together. And you can see that in karate forms, you can see it in Taekwondo forms, all kinds of Kung Fu forms. And so we have these confusing looking movements that don't always make sense, at least not from a striking perspective, because so much of it is shadow grappling. But bringing glory back to Kung Fu, I understand what you mean. The reason this resonated with me so much is because I spent a great deal of time as a younger man earning a black belt in Taekwondo. That was very important to me. Taekwondo was, by most people at the time, taken very seriously. If you look at old videos from the 1950s of Taekwondo competition, it was this very brutal, full contact fighting art with very few rules. And if you look at Taekwondo today, it looks like a martial arts themed daycare center with little kids running around wearing black belts that they should not be wearing. And when mixed martial arts started gaining popularity, well, there were a lot of condescending voices saying Taekwondo sucks. Taekwondo is worthless. Nobody with a black belt in Taekwondo is worth a grain of salt in a fight. And I took that very personally because I had invested very heavily as far as time and attention, invested emotionally into this sport and this art of Taekwondo, right? And for a while, when I started competing in kickboxing, that was my first professional combat sport, I wanted to be the Taekwondo guy, to bring glory back, to redeem this art, to let people know this wasn't always crap. This wasn't always martial arts themed daycare for little kids. This was once a deadly serious killing system. And the more I stuck to that paradigm, the more I limited myself, and the less I learned. And the more I stepped out of that paradigm and allowed myself to become a more complete martial artist and realize that the labels that we tag onto styles are the least important thing about those styles. That's where the real learning began. Now, I have a friend who does Kung Fu here in China, and he's not a fighter. He loves Kung Fu for the historical context of it. He loves and appreciates the artistry behind it. He loves the movement. He loves the history. He loves the people that developed these styles. And he said this thing in this beautiful video he made about why he practices Kung Fu. And he said, "This beautiful art, I do not want to see it die." And I can get behind that 100%. I don't care if that guy ever fights professionally, if he ever steps in a ring or a cage. He said something so incredibly true, undeniably true right there. I love this. And I don't want to see it go away. That is honest, 100% honest. And shouldn't martial arts be an honest expression of self? Bruce Lee famously said that, and Martha Graham, modern dance pioneer, famously, or maybe less famously, in the martial arts world said it well before Bruce Lee was ever born. I think I'd have to go back and double check the dates, at least when he was a little kid. Teaching is a fantastic way to get better at martial arts. You will have all kinds of experiences as a teacher that you will not as a student. If your coach, if your shifu or whatever you call him, has confidence in you to represent his style, represent his system. In spite of how you may feel about it, maybe you feel like, I'm not enough. I'm not perfect yet. You know what? That's okay. That's okay. If he believes in you, why shouldn't you? I'm very outspoken about belts and martial arts being the least important thing about those martial arts next to what you call your system. But all a belt really means is that the person that gave it to you believes that you are enough to represent what he has taught you. So have some faith in that. And at the same time, ask yourself, what are your own life goals? Is your life goal to represent this guy who taught you some Kung Fu? Is your life goal to make Kung Fu look awesome to all the kids these days and make them think, yeah, I want to train in Kung Fu at this school instead of, Krav Maga or kickboxing or Taekwondo or whatever, right? Playing the style name game again. Is that important to you? It might be. A lot of people tie their legacy to their name. And a lot of these old Kung Fu styles are named after people. At the end of the day, it is your choice, my friend. I won't make it for you, but I'll give you my 2 cents on that. Again, what is your true motivation? Is it to appeal to that sense of pride inside of you, saying, I spent all of this time, invested all this emotional capital, so I want to see it pay off. I want to see some returns on this. Or is it something much more honest? Is it something much more genuine? Thanks for watching. Now get out there and train.